This
and
conference
to the
will now be
republic for which
recorded.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I believe we do not have any amendments to the agenda, so just need adoption of the agenda. Any further discussions? All in favor? Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Review the minutes from the February 2nd regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 2nd meeting minutes as written.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Accounts payable. Sarah?
It is pretty nondescript. It's kind of a normal month. Couple things the police officers bought, but nothing came out of their fund, so I will make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $86,359.18. Second.
Any questions for Sarah or Kim? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Sarah. Public comments. Individuals may address the city council about any items of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit the remarks to 5 minutes. Public comments.
I got one. I actually have two. I could probably do it in 2 minutes or 5 minutes, but Gary Harbo, I am here to ask about a parking ticket, but a snow removal ticket that I received back in January 3rd of this year. I was wondering if it's possible I could do community service instead of paying the fine. I do whatever you guys, I don't know if anybody's ever asked that before, but I don't really have a lot of money. I know it's $30 here. It's actually $45 now, but I know it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but things are tight for me. I'd be happy to pick up garbage, whatever you want me to do. I mean, I do a lot of community service already, but I would do in addition to that, whatever you guys want. Just here to ask that question. Yeah. What do you guys think about that?
Do you have a second one you want to address?
Oh, yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the community garden. So as I'm expanding my business, I haven't been able to find a building in town that has the infrastructure big enough to be able to handle what I need to move into. And if I do have to move out of town, I'm going to move with it. And if that's the case, then I need to figure out an exit strategy for the community garden. Now I'm working on building infrastructure with the school to have them take over and manage it. If I stay in town, my long-term vision is to put geothermal greenhouse at school. So the kids are growing 20%, 25% of their dietary program at school, building a whole curriculum on it. But I can't make that work if my business can't grow in town. So if I have to move, the community garden is where I bring all of my spent compost and substrate from my mushroom business. So it works in symbiosis. And we're talking like 1,000, 2,000 pounds of substrate every week. And I don't want to be in Kenyon or Faribault driving that back here. So wherever I move my business, the garden's going to go with me. And so what I wanted to do with the community garden as it stands right now, long term, let's say we build that, let's say I stay in town, I build the geothermal greenhouse at school and we start building that program out, and I take advantage of that or manage that. What I see is happening with the community garden as it stands is building into a perennial garden. So things are self-managing. So we put blueberry bushes and rhubarb and perennial flowers, and then it would just be mowing around it. But if I'm not sure where my future, basically what's going on with me right now. And so I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about what your expectations are. If we have to close it down early, I mean, do you want me to go back in and plow it and reseed it and grass it? Or, I mean, what do you guys think?
I think with the community garden, I think we should just wait on that until you kind of know where you're going to head. I mean,
I would for sure do this year.
Yeah.
So I'm for sure going to do this year. And I'm speaking with a woman in town who is like a master gardener on perennial plants. Like she has a perennial garden in her to start moving in that direction as it stands. Or our plan, if we slowly transition over 5 years, is to do annual plants on the row crops, and then the circle in the middle is going to start building up perennial. So that'll eventually be no management. And the idea is it'll eventually be a place where people can just go and relax with benches and minimal management, as opposed to 100, 200 hours every summer of labor. So
I mean, to go to answer your question, I think I'm under the impression that if you ever decide to back out, I think it has to be leveled off and seeded.
Okay.
Is that,
Mm.
I think that was kind of the contract, because we want it,
Is that what it was?
yeah, I think that was what, it's got to be the original versus just
Right.
you leaving and
Right.
having what we have there and we
Right.
can't mow it and maintain
Right.
it. So I
Right.
think, to answer your question, I think that's where we need to go if it gets that far.
Yeah.
The parking ticket, what the other council's opinions are. I know we've had, I think you're the third one we've had, and I.
Everyone wants them free though. I'm
Is this-
willing to
is
pay
this-
for it.
You're talking about a parking ticket or? you're
Oh, sorry, a
talking
snow
about
ticket,
snow
snow
removal?
ticket, yeah.
Is that the sidewalk
Yeah.
by the community garden or by the
No, I was
garden?
actually parked over on Central Avenue. You know, the other thing that I don't like about that whole ticket situation is typically Zumbrota plows the day after it, because there's a big snowfall. And I'm assuming that we write tickets to prevent people who are plowing from having to go around cars. Like, that makes complete sense to me. And I know that the officers are just doing their job, but it would make more sense to me if they ticketed on the night that they're actually plowing, because that's the night that people have to be off the road. I mean, this is just, I'm happy to pay it. If you guys want me to pay it, I'll pay it. I'm just wondering if there's a way I can pay it without money instead. So,
My only thought is we don't have the resources to have them make up a job for you. We
right.
just don't. So, but I'm not opposed to, you do a lot for the community, like you were saying, that, you know,
I mean, I
maybe
can work with
maybe
Mike or someone
you
doing.
shovel in front of the community garden, because no one did that,
Yeah,
that sidewalk.
yeah.
And, you know, I don't know.
I mean, and like Sarah and I talked about a little bit, I know we don't like to give them,
Give a precedent. I
give
get
a
it.
precedence,
Yeah.
but my opinion is you've done a lot for the community in the
Yeah.
standpoint of the community garden and vegetables and
Right,
a place to sit. I do get many people that come up and say, hey, I picked tomatoes or I
Yeah.
picked something.
yeah.
That was, I mean, the
Yeah.
one side, but I also like, I don't want to make a precedence that community work, well, who's gonna regulate that, stuff
Right,
like that. So I mean,
And I by no means mean to come across as I'm above the law because I do these things for the community. I mean, for me, it's more of a financial thing. Like, I really, I don't work as a nurse anymore, and my business is failing because it's not big enough, which is why I need to move to a bigger building right now, because it's a scale thing, not an artisanal thing. Like, I
Yeah.
need to be 6 times bigger than I am right now to make it float, so I can hire people and grow for this community. And it's so extremely frustrating to not be able to find the place to move to. The
Yeah.
2 places in town I've tried have been sold to someone else, you know?
I was just gonna mention on the ticket, yeah, I mean, if you guys wanted to say, okay, community service, and the community service is the garden.
Yeah.
The community garden, that seems a way you could go. Just throwing it out there. And then Gary, I think we need to get you together with Kurt Meister here to talk about buildings and spaces and what we know about what's available. Kurt is our community development director, so when you've got some time, come in, sit down with us, and
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll certainly try to help
Okay.
to figure something out, because we'd like to keep you around.
No, Tuesday? Okay, I'll come in Tuesday. That works for you? All right,
So,
I appreciate that.
sorry, stepped on
no,
your ticket there.
you're fine. So what, I mean, other council?
I'm happy to move towards the option of a community service if Brian or Mike have something that we can do that. But if we don't have something like sitting there and waiting to get done, this is something that's gonna happen in the spring or something.
Yeah, spring or summer. I mean, there's always things to do around City Hall here with weeding and stuff like that.
Right. Planting bushes or, whatever.
Yeah, then I'm fine moving in that direction.
Sure. And, I think to not, be careful not to set a precedence, I don't know that we would have community service for everybody that got a snow ticket, but Gary's situation is a little bit unique given the fact that he kind of runs a community service down there with the garden. So I would be more in favor of saying, all right, Gary, like Sarah said, we need to get that sidewalk shoveled all the time down there. We get complaints on that. And that's kind of outside. There's going to be a ticket for that next year too. But the service at the community garden, say, okay, what you're doing there and continue to do there, that would suffice. I think that's not setting a precedence. That's a unique situation.
So, I mean, to kind of go back what Kevin says, we won't really make him do community service because he's already doing that.
We're assigning it to
garden.
the responsibilities he's
'Cause he's
already
done-
taking on for the community.
And I know he's put a lot of hours in it. I've been in myself, a lot of people. So basically, thank you for the work you've done. But if it happens again,
Right.
I mean, this is kind of
Yeah.
your,
It was a mistake on my part anyway. I thought Central Avenue was outside of that range. That's why I drove over there that night. Obviously, I was wrong. So I'm typically on a night that it's going to get, like, you look at Facebook and you see the police department post their thing, we're going to ticket tonight, park in the lot. But anyway, it was my mistake. Happy to pay for it, but just asking for.
Do we need a motion then? Or
something we need a motion on,
Motion
yeah, and
on.
then we'll vote on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want me to word it?
One of you two,
Make a motion to forgive the ticket in lieu of the community service that you've already done for the community, right?
the last couple of years with the
Yeah.
community garden. But make it clear that if he gets ticket again, just pay your ticket, you know, I mean.
Yep.
And then also take care of the sidewalk, I mean.
Okay, just like that. kid.
You got it. It's recorded, so.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Gary. And then the getting the garden, I think we're on the impression when you decide to bail out or
Yeah.
you can't do it or whatever.
I'd like to not bail until we can get it transferred to something where there's almost no maintenance.
Yeah.
That's,
But
otherwise it's just.
to a
waste.
point, somebody's going to have to maintenance because I know the city's not going to want to.
It'll be just mowing at that
Yeah.
point is the idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Perfect.
Or
Or
if there's
finding
other,
someone to take
or
over.
if there's other interested people that would want to do it, you know.
Right. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Any more public comments? I will close public comment portion. I will jump to 8A lawnmower purchase. Brian?
Yes, so the new streets FDE, part of the vision with that was to see if we can take on more mowing rather than contracting out. So we did a little bit of a study, and we anticipate a savings of anywhere, $3,000, $6,000. There's going to be a savings of some sort there. When you factor in gas and maintenance, maybe closer to 3,000 but there's going to be some savings, but there's also going to be flexibility. We mowed areas, ahead of the Covered Bridge Festival, kind of out of the schedule with the contract that we had. We mowed the softball fields, at least the first, 30 feet into the outfield for the little kids because the grass is so long by the time they play on the weekend. So we've been doing that stuff anyway. So Mike and I and the guys took a look at, if they think they could do all the mowing in the parks, and they said, yeah, we think we can do that. But to do that, we need to buy a mower. And that mower is $12,500. And that'll help with the parks, and that'll also help in other areas as well. We're going to work more up in this area, City Hall area. This is our focal point. This is where cars come in all the time, daily, so we're going to keep a little bit more on top of mowing up here so we don't have any clumps and everything is trimmed and that type of stuff. So anyway, that's the reason for the new purchase, and we're hoping you'll let us go ahead and buy a new mower.
They have their money in their,
I thought we already approved by more,
I
but anyway.
don't think so. Last year, maybe. This will be an additional one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is
I was
a,
like, I thought we just bought a mower.
well, we'll have 3 of them now plus the one at the plant.
I think Larry said he's like on a 3-year rotation with this.
Yep, we've got on our equipment schedule, it ends up being a mower a year. So. But again, we're gonna have flexibility. We're gonna be able to mow when we need to, maybe not as often, depending, So there's a lot of advantages that we see to it.
I'll make a motion to accept the Lodemeyer bid for 12.5.
I'll second that.
any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Brian and Mike, for doing the work or the research. 8B, Safe Step 2023 sidewalk saw cutting project. Mr. Bryan.
Yes, sidewalk committee has been meeting a little more often now, 3 times, I think. And,
3 times in 15 years.
yeah, and they've all been in the last few months. But we have a lot of aging sidewalks, and this is a maintenance plan that you've got in your packet. A lot of other communities in the area, Chatfield, Rochester, there's a number of them that contract with Safe Step. And what they do is come in and do a evaluation of sidewalks in certain areas that we point them to. And we can set a dollar amount, and they'll come in, do the evaluation, and they'll start fixing where we tell them to fix areas until the money's gone. You know, we're requesting $8,000 for 2023. So what they do is, rather than, you know, replacement, they'll come in, and if there's an offset of 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch, they'll come in and they'll cut that offset down, that bump down to where it's back within the tolerance. Less than 1/4 inch or less is the accessibility requirement. And then depending on the soils underneath, you know, you're going to get some years out of it. You might get 10 years out of that area after the repair. So it's really a way to keep up on maintaining some of our sidewalks that have the tripping hazards now, and not having to do a lot of replacement, which is incredibly expensive. So you can see the area that we pointed them to in 2023 is Main Street, and then from the east and west avenues, all those sidewalks that lead down to Main Street. And then the section that goes all the way out to the park entrance as well. There's a couple of spots there. So that's where they're going to start if you guys approve this tonight. And then we'll relook at the contract every year, and it's a 1-year contract, but we'll relook at it every year, and we'll fund it with whatever dollars we can afford based on the budget that year. And we're gonna have more sidewalk discussion on replacement and extension and all that, but that'll be at the work session. This is just entering into this maintenance agreement to start fixing our aging sidewalks.
Do you think that, how much of this 1 mile do you think that $8,000 is going to cover?
Well, I think it's going to go quite a ways downtown here, because, you know, Main Street's pretty good. Some of the sidewalks are not as good, but I think it'll go quite a ways this year. We won't know until they, you know, do the evaluation, and then they come back to us. You know, we set the criteria. It's basically right out of the accessibility code as far as the 1/4 inch to 3/4 of an inch and the beveling and all that good stuff. And then we get a chance, once they've done all the evaluation, they'll come back with a report, and we'll say, yep, do that one, do that one, do that one, do that one now. You know, we're going to probably replace that in a couple of years. You know, we can pick and choose as well. And then they just go at it until the $8,000 is gone for the year. And then they'll come back next year, and we'll say, all right, do this area, and allocate whatever money we can at that time. So it's really a good program. And like I said, there's a lot of other cities in the area that do contract with them. So.
How did we come up with 8,000?
That's what we budgeted.
Well, yeah, so we've got
Budgeted.
money in the sidewalk fund now, and Mike had a couple of projects in mind, and we'll talk about that at the work session. And so the $8,000 leaves enough money in there to do some sections of replacement that we need to, or extend sidewalks in some areas where we don't have them now. So we want to leave enough money there for that, because those projects have been on Mike's list for quite a while now, and it was time to do them. So I don't want to say, nope, we're going to do maintenance instead. And it makes sense. Most communities, I actually proposed more money at first to Safe Step, and they said, no, you know what? You probably want to be somewhere, you know, 10,000 or less is what they had told us. They said 5,000, yeah.
Like, no, let's get a good start.
So we went a little bit more than what they said even. There's communities that allocate $5,000 every year, and that's what they do. But I wanted to kind of leave it year to year with the budget, because if we can tackle some more extra, great, let's do that, because there's a lot of bad sidewalks.
We'll work on the trunk sidewalks, you know, out from Main Street, so that these are the sidewalks that are the main sidewalks.
So, yeah, and Bob and Sarah are the sidewalk committee. So
Yeah.
Bob, Sarah, and I, Mike. So yeah, chime in.
You know, one of the things they said, if I remember correctly, in their when we talked with the gentleman who's going to do it, on the average, $150 to maybe $220 to saw cut a specific area that needed to be repaired. So it seemed quite reasonable.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to do a lot.
As a per occurrence on what they could do. So I think that 8,000 can add up to quite a bit of an area.
Okay.
And we don't do anything other than cut them loose.
Replacing it, which we won't get to, and we've got to tackle some of these things, so.
I'll make that motion to approve the Safe Step 23 sidewalk saw cutting project
Second.
For 8,000.
for 8,000.
Perfect. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 500. Thanks, Brian. 8C, Jefferson Drive pay request. Brian,
It's me again. Yeah, I didn't let anybody say anything this meeting, did I? It's all me this meeting.
perfect.
So this application is to pay for stored materials for the Jefferson project. The contract and MnDOT provisions allow for the contractors to be paid for materials that have been purchased and stored. So Schumacher has submitted the appropriate documentation to receive payment. And so the process of this, how this works with the state bonding money is the city approves the pay request, and then we pay it. And then the county submits that, and they probably already have submitted it, actually, they will tomorrow. They submit that to the, because the county is our fiscal agent, because we're under 5,000 people, we couldn't administer those bonding dollars on our own. So then the county will submit that amount, or 50% of that amount, to the state for reimbursement. And then they will reimburse back to the county, and then the county will get the money to us. So we're going to get 50% of the 250 whatever thousand dollars it is,
264.
or 264 back from that state bonding money. So it's a whole process. And Kim said we've been through it before on another project, so she knows it well. But it's just good that we've got all that stuff bought and stored, so they can hit the ground running as soon as it warms up in April, because the weather's going to be wonderful starting then.
Right. I'll make a motion to approve the pay request from the WHKs in the amount of $264,260.60.
I'll second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 500. Thanks, Brian. 8D, Resolution 2023-06, approving support for the North Zumbro Sanitary District.
Yes, similar to, well, it's pretty much the same resolution with new dates, and ultimately there'll be new bill numbers on there. We don't have the bill numbers quite yet. But we do have bills. They just dropped today. So we'll have bill numbers either late tomorrow or Monday or early next week. I was going to do this in my update, but I might as well talk sanitary district now. So the House and Senate bills were submitted today. House bills, the author is Steve Jacob, and then Representatives Jamie Becker Finn of Roseville and Kim Hicks of Rochester signed onto the bill as well. In the Senate bill, Senator Drazkowski is the author, and Senators Mary Kulish from New Brighton and Liz Bolden from Rochester signed on to the bill as well. They are both, of course, our senator and our representative are Republicans, and then the co-signers are from the DFL. Our lobbyist is going to set up meetings with members of the bondings committee starting later next week already. So we can send a contingent up there to speak to each member of the bonding committee, whether it be, a couple of mayors and the engineers, or administrators and engineers and mayors, or whatever it might be. And then we're also going to be, Senator Drazkowski and Representative Jacob will also work on getting some committee hearings set up. And then we'll send people up to testify in those committee hearings as well. And Bob and I will be up there on March 9th for the League of Minnesota Cities Day at the Capitol. And we'll also have meetings with a lot of them then as well as our local contingent. So it's moving along, and we just would like to reaffirm our support with this resolution. It does not have bill numbers on it yet. But if we can authorize the mayor to sign it next week, once we have the bill numbers on there, it'd be wonderful. We'll keep this thing moving.
So I need a roll call.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-06 pending the
Bill
bill
number.
numbers.
Yes, yep.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Sarah?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Brian. Let's do reports. Brian, you must keep on going.
Yeah, cut my report down quite a bit. We're continuing to work on the capital financial planning or capital improvement planning. We'll have an update for you at the work session on March 8th. Andy Bartman and Bob Keller are hosting an open house at the Town Center apartment building from noon to 3 on Friday, February 24th. So if you're around, they'll have treats and tours for the community. They're going to put a notice in the paper. I've also got some flyers that I put up on our bulletin board and out in the front window here. So spread the word. People have been asking about going in there, being able to see the place. So Andy and Bob are going to host that. Mike and James submitted the Emerald Ash Borer grant application to the DNR today. And I don't know if you're going to talk more about it in your report, but just want a huge thank you to those guys for all that work. Writing a grant is a lot of work, and it was very well written. So I'm hoping that the committee sees the same, sees what I saw and sends the grant our way. And then again, yeah, just a reminder, on March 8th is the work session here, 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we're closed on Monday in observance of President's Day, so City Hall will be closed.
Anything else, Brian?
No, that's enough.
Thank you. Chief? James?
Stole my thunder.
You can talk more.
Thanks, James. Curtis?
We got two. The EDA voted last night to help fund a new visitor's guide for cities of Berlin. We have as many ordered this time as the last time. It costs, with inflation and paper, prices will be relatively the same as last time. But we voted to move forward with that, working with Grimsby Publishing to complete that. So we'll be hearing more about that. Then secondly, we, myself and my colleague, Munir, are working on a plan to hopefully fund 2 EV chargers for the city of Sunbury, electric vehicle chargers. If you put one possibly in the parking lot, I think this will make the parking lot here. Just kind of the way the world's moving towards electric cars. Be very handy for tourists and people who go downtown. Yeah, we can go through the grant goes through at any cost to the city.
So where would they be?
Well, we're thinking, I walk with Michael's in that public parking lot by the Goose. Here between the Goose.
By the elevator?
Yep.
Would be a good one for that. And then maybe out here as well, in this parking lot. But that could be.
Like if they were parked to go out of to the
Yeah,
park or
proximity to the
something.
park. So
Yep.
And then I could walk. Those are two.
Are they generic? Is that the word? So like no matter what type of EV you owned, you
Yeah,
could,
the one is Tesla, and I looked this one up.
Okay.
But a Tesla would have an adapter that you would put on the charger.
oh, okay, so that it would work.
But every other car. Level 2 charger, a level 2 charger, your car would charge fully probably like an hour and a half. You get a level 3 charger, that's like the Tesla charges, and it charges like real quick, but they're really expensive. Most of them you see are level 2 chargers. Probably if you want an example, I believe the man who runs Snap Fitness drives a Tesla, and there's a Tesla charger on the wall there.
Oh, he's got it.
Is there like a database, like when you're driving, where it'll tell you where these are located, so that you can like drive on the. Oh, yeah.
And that's one thing would be part of it.
Yep, so
So that's, we have to submit the grant deadline is the 28th of this month, so I'll keep you informed.
Thanks, Kurt. Anything else? Kimberly?
Nothing tonight.
I have one quick thing. Zumbrota will start observing Juneteenth, which is June 19th each year because it got passed by the state. So now our unions, I know police unions wanted it, but we said we'd wait till it passed by the state. So this June 19th, though, all city employees will get June 19th as a holiday. That is all I have. Sarah, Bob, Joan,
Nothing.
Kevin, meeting adjourned.